I haven't watched a single coding tutorial in the last 12 months. And in those 12 months, I shipped more projects, learned 3 new frameworks, and actually understand what I'm building for the first time in my career. But before you close YouTube and swear off tutorials forever, here's what nobody tells you about why tutorial hell isn't really about tutorials at all. A year ago, I built an entire web app following tutorials, start to finish, authentication, database, the whole thing, and I felt like a genius. Then I tried to build something on my own. I couldn't even write the logic for a login form, not the authentication part, just the basic form logic. And that's when it hit me. I hadn't learned anything, I just watched someone else learn. And if you have ever felt this, if you have ever crushed a tutorial project and then frozen the moment you start building things on your own, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But here's where it gets interesting. Problem wasn't that I watched the tutorial, but I watched the tutorial like I would binge watch TV show. Zero friction, zero struggle, just smooth passive consumption. Your brain was lighting up the entire time going, yes, I get this, this makes sense. But you weren't getting it. You were just recognizing the patterns as someone else generated them. There's an actual psychology behind this. It's called as the fluency illusion. When information flows smooth to your brain, you mistake that smooth flow for understanding. And that's why you can watch 3 hour long React tutorial, feel like you could build the next Facebook, and get stuck at the moment you start your own project. Your brain just learned to recognize. It didn't learn to generate. And that is the entire difference between someone who consumes tutorial and someone who actually builds. But here's what makes things even worse. Tutorial hell doesn't just exist in coding. It exists everywhere people learn skills. Guitar tutorials, art tutorials, fitness tutorials. But you know what's weird? Tutorial hell is worst in coding. And why is that? Because coding is the only field where the outcome is exactly the same even if you understand it or not. The code runs, the app works. There is literally no way someone can tell if you copy pasted your entire work or you learnt it from deep understanding. A guitarist can't fake through a solo. An artist can't copy paste a painting. But a developer, you can Stack Overflow your way to a working app and nobody knows the difference. Until you try to build something new. Then the house of cards collapses. Now here's where people get this completely wrong. They hear tutorial hell is bad and immediately overcorrects, okay, I'll just read the documentations, raw and pure knowledge directly from the source. And they end up in a documentation hell. Because here's what nobody tells you about the doc. They were written by someone who already understands the thing deeply. They are compressed knowledge. They skip all the content of why things work the way they do. Docs are incredible reference materials, but they are terrible learning material for most people. So what's the answer? If not tutorials, if not docs, then what? Here's my actual opinion. This is going to sound controversial, but keep watching the tutorials, keep reading the documentation, keep using YouTube. But change how you use them. Just take a second and think how YouTube tutorials exist in the first place. Someone sits down, they read the documentation, they struggle through building something, they hit errors, they Google solutions, they break things, they rebuild. Only then they make a polished 20-minute video where everything works perfect. You're only watching the final pretty version of the ugly, messy process they had in the beginning. And you are expecting to learn things from their final draft, what they learned in their uglier mess. It doesn't work that way. Here's the thing that changed everything for me. I watched a LeBron James interview where he once talked about studying a game film. He doesn't just watch the footage. He pauses, he predicts what the defender will do, he questions the play call, and he analyzes. When you're actively watching a tutorial, you're not just following along, but you are pausing before they solve the problem first and trying to solve it yourself first. Questioning why they choose this approach over another. Predicting what will break and how will they fix it. Writing the code yourself before they do, then comparing. That's the shift, that's the entire game. And I know what you're thinking, this sounds slow and frustrating. Yeah, exactly. Learning is supposed to be slow and frustrating. If it feels smooth, you're not learning, you're just watching. I spent 4 hours debugging a course error once. 4 hours. I googled the same solution probably 17 times because I kept forgetting why it worked in the first place. But you know what? I will never forget how course works now. Never. It's burned into my brain because I struggled with it. That confusion, that frustration, that 2 a.m. Stack Overflow rabbit hole, that's where the actual learning happens. Not in a smooth, polished tutorial where everything works on the first time. The process being long and ugly, it's not a bug, it's the feature. Because when you struggle, your brain is forced to generate the solution. It can't just recognize it. And generation is what creates understanding. But here's what breaks my heart. Most people quit right at this exact moment, right when the discomfort starts, right when where the actual learning will begin. They quit because they think the struggle means they are not cut out for this. They think everyone else has it figured out and learning smoothly. But they don't know they have been doing it wrong the entire time. They never even get to see what the right side of learning looks like. Okay, enough philosophy. Here's what you can do starting from today. Step 1, the pause rule. Next tutorial you watch, pause every time before they try to solve something. I mean, physically hit pause. Try to solve it yourself first, even if you fail, especially if you fail. And then watch their solution and compare. What did they do differently and why does their approach works better? This one change will 10x your retention, I promise. Step 2, the rebuild test. After finishing any tutorial, close the project and open a new blank file. Rebuild the core features from your memory. And here's exactly where you discover what you learned versus what you copied. Got struck? Perfect. Note down the things you struggled with, that's your next study list. Step 3, the 30-minute struggle rule. Whenever you hit a problem, force yourself to struggle with it at least for 30 minutes before looking at any kind of solutions. Google it, try different approaches, read error messages, make it worse before you make it better. I know this feels inefficient, but it's not. This is where your brain actually encodes the information. Step number 4, the variation change. Once something starts working, break it on purpose. Change the data structures, add the edge cases, remove one feature and add a different one. If you learned authentication with email, try doing the same with phone number. If you build a blog, try building a forum using same concepts. Force transfer. That's how you truly know if you understand anything. Step 5, the public build. Build something, anything, without a tutorial guiding you. It can be small, it can be ugly, but it has to be yours. Not tutorial code with your variable names. Share it, even if it is embarrassing, especially if it is embarrassing. Nobody is judging you. Everybody exactly started at the point where you are now. The only difference is they were willing to share things even if it is messy. A quick sidebar, this is why Googling is better than AI for learning right now. When you Google things, you see multiple solutions, discussion about trade-offs, and context. But when you ask AI, you get one answer, no context, no explanation of why this solution was chosen over other ones. AI is incredible for productivity, but for learning, you would need those messy human discussions. You want to see the evolution of the solution. And yes, there's a whole video coming up about AI's impact on learning. This is just scratching surface, but that's for another time. Here's the most interesting thing that nobody mentions. If you are LeBron James watching a game film, is that passive learning? If you are a chess grandmaster studying Bobby Fischer's gameplay, are they stuck in a tutorial hell? No, because they are not just watching, they are analyzing, questioning, predicting, actively engaging themselves. So the tutorial isn't the problem. Your relationship with the tutorial is. So maybe the question isn't, should I watch tutorials? Maybe the question is, am I ready to watch a tutorial like an engineer and not like a spectator? The discomfort you are avoiding, that is the learning. The smooth path isn't the shortcut, it's a detour. You almost always understand how things are done when you're watching someone else. You'll never understand why they did those things until you struggle it with yourself. So break things, get uncomfortable. Google the same thing 17 times, rebuild things from scratch. That's where engineers are made. Not in the smooth 20-minute tutorial. In the ugly, messy struggle you are willing to embrace. So go down there, drop a comment. Are you watching tutorials like Netflix or like a game film? And let me know what you're changing this week.